So we want our world to be a better place. We want to see this world to be peaceful, to be loving, to be kind, to be gentle, and obviously to be successful. Success in this case means everyone have what they need. I'm not talking about flamboyant lifestyle. I'm talking about, at the very least, everyone can earn and live on and be able to meet their basic needs at the very least. That's exactly the world I want to see. That's a world I am sure everyone wants to see. That is our common interest. But the reality is, we have pockets of poverty, pockets of rich, wealthy people, and pockets of in between those two. And of course, that creates a lot of tension between us. The right level of connection between us is what could bring solution to these problems. But we don't understand what that connection actually means. You see, I'm a fan, a profound fan of the wisdom of the sages. I study them all the time. And I reached one conclusion, which, by the way, I don't take this very lightly. The reality is, if anyone knows me, and if you know me, people who know me, they would tell you, I'm the kind of person, I spend a lot of time doing my own research. I test things. I don't just accept what people tell me. I make observation, and if I say something looks right, chances are it is right. You may say I'm obstinate or I'm egoistic. Well, that's really what you think, but really and truly, I investigate before I reach my conclusion. And one thing that I have discovered about our world, regardless of where you go, it doesn't matter which country, which color people exist in those countries, it's the same. Everyone wants the best, and you cannot get the best without working with one another. In other words, there has to be relationship involved in everything we do. We live in an environment where relationship matters. So for us to really get to the point where we are healthy, wealthy, successful, peaceful, joyful, all of the states that we aspire, there's only one solution, and the solution is to connect with one another in a very healthy manner. You see, there are different levels of connection. I can connect with you purely because I want something from you. In other words, I don't care much about you. I only care about what I'm going to get from you. That's one connection. And in many cases, most of the businesses that we have, most of the relationships we have is exactly like that. When you go to a shop, you go to buy what you want. You don't care about the owner. You don't care about the staff there. There are very few people who walk into a shop and buy anything with thinking about anyone else other than what they want. This is the default position our lives are. And when we are in that mode, we don't think about others. And so therefore, it's all about us. That's not the right connection. That's a bad connection, because that's a connection which is about me. It's not about others. That's a connection which is about you and not about others. When we connect at that level, we are effectively saying the others do not matter. Well, there is another level of connection. The second level of connection is where I care about you. I care about who is serving me in that organization. I care about how things are produced that are sold to me. I care about the world as a whole. I care about everyone and everything around me. That is a whole new degree of lifestyle. That is a lifestyle that is beyond my own need. That's what we call selfless living. And of course, when one begins to strive for that, they begin to change their nature. Things that they will just pick up in the shops, they don't do that anymore because they ask question: how was this actually produced? Who produced it? Where did it come from? Are they treating the people who are manufacturing these goods and services that I am consuming well? Because you recognize the integrality of nature. In other words, everyone is connected, and what you wouldn't like others to do unto you, you don't want to do unto others. You begin to live your life in that mode. And with that, you begin to move towards the right connection. Because the right connection is not about physical interaction. The right connection is about heart connection. The right connection is when my heart is beginning to melt down one step at a time, and allow you to come into it because I recognize that you and I are the same. The right connection is when I care about you just as much as I care about myself. The right connection is when I produce something, I'm thinking the best of what that service or that product will do for you. The right connection is when I want you to get the best out of me. The right connection is when I become so connected with your desires, your needs, and I make them mine because I want the best for you. Do you see why we could possibly be having a lot of problems in our world? Because we are so far from the right connection. The right connection is a heart to heart. And when we talk about heart to heart, if you have ever fallen in love with someone, and I'm pretty sure most of you watching this would have fallen in love with someone before, the right connection is when the heart is so open, you wouldn't see flaws in a person. You just wouldn't. And that's what we normally say: I'm in love. Even if someone says that person has a bald head, you wouldn't say it. I remember a rabbi once said something. It was a very interesting story. The story goes like this. There was a lady, and what he said was she was a Jewish lady, and she was a very beautiful woman, and she hadn't been married, and everyone in the family was concerned. She was very picky. For a start, she always said she did not want any man who is bald. So she did not entertain a bald-headed man. She wanted men who look like, well, they have a lot of hair on their head anyway, at the very least. But she rejected men who were with hair on their head. She did so several times. Every time she was put in touch with a person who potentially she should go out with, she will reject them. And this went on for a long time, and eventually a gentleman who cares about her approached the father. And the dad said, I don't think she will be interested in you. The reason why? Because my daughter do not like men with bald head. She's already made that very clear. She will never go out with a man with a bald head. The guy said, not to worry, I will put on a hat. I will cover my head. I will take her out for a date, and let's see whether we get on as a friend. Well, they went out, and the dad warned the gentleman, please do not take the hat off whilst you're with my daughter, because that will put her off. This will not work at all. You will not even be a friend to her, because this is a problem for her. They went out, and of course, this gentleman got on so well with this woman. The man forgot completely the advice that the father gave, and he took the hat off. And do you know what? Because the heart connection was so strong, the woman who rejected all the men with bald head saw this man and did not even see the boldness on the head, or she saw it and it didn't matter to her. Well, they got on so well, they fixed another date, and when they fixed the next date, the dad was a bit surprised. And the dad approached the daughter. The dad asked the daughter, "Do you know he's got bald head? Is that cool with you?" The daughter, to the surprise of the man, of the father, said, oh yeah, I saw it the first time. And the dad shook his head and learned something. When you love, you never see flaws. That is the moral of that story. When you love another, you never see flaws. Usually we see flaws when we don't love. And that's the moral of that story. So I'm going to go back on track with where I started with this video. Now, basically, you have to remember that connection is at different levels. If we connect physically, we have no heart-to-heart connection. There's no love involved. It's impersonal. You know, I go to different shops. You just go buy what you want. You don't think about the cashier. You don't think about anything else other than, is the price right for me? Is this product going to meet my needs? That's all. You don't think about the people. You could care less about smiling to them. That's not connection. That is so far from connection. Connection is when you begin to spend time to absorb what the other person genuinely needs in order to fulfill their lives. Now, we live in an environment where we are so far from that. Every time we move towards connection, there's a special force that comes into our lives, and that force brings with it a lot of correction in our environment, and that correction are the things that we normally complain about. So the things that we're complaining about can be eradicated when we have the right connection, when we learn to take the needs of others into consideration, when we begin to treat others with respect, with warmth, with care, with love, then we will have some connection, and at the same time we will see correction in the areas that we complain about. So I hope you now understand what connection at the heart means. I hope you now begin to see why it is necessary for correcting ailments or any other kind of problems that we have. Of course, we don't see the impact immediately. It is not like a miracle pill, just like you don't take some medication and expect everything to go, correct itself immediately. But if you do it consciously, I guarantee you begin to see changes. There is something that changes in a person and their environment when connection from the heart happens. Try it out. Get a group of people around you. Practice it. But be sure everyone wants to do this. Get a community of people and say to them, from now on, let's practice this. We have to make sure we have a community that seek for the best and the highest interest of others. And let's see if there will be a change in our economic life, social life, spiritual life, you name it. Try it out. It might just be what you're looking for.